Hello and welcome to the next episode of our Masterclass series. During the next 30 minutes or so, I will be joined by one of our most favourite lenders, and we will be doing a deep dive to understand exactly where and why they excel and what the magic dust is, and exactly why they're such an important partner to Crystal. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by one of our most favourite people. So not only favourite lender, but favourite people. So I've got Cara Williams from Together joining us. And Cara, hi, how are we doing?
You're making me blush now, Jason. I'm very well, thank you.
Listen, great to speak to you today. And look, I'm really looking forward to the next 30 to 40 minutes of conversation. Look, we know the relationship between our two companies is a special one, and there's loads of magic dust that I think will come out with as we go through the conversation. But probably a starting point is really just understanding a little bit about maybe about yourself and how long you've been with Together and the kind of Together journey you've been on, and then we'll go straight into the questions around criteria and all those USPs.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks very much for having me today, as well. Looking forward to sort of like getting into the criteria of Together and how we work so well with Crystal as well, and that value added relationship that we've got. And yeah, so I'm Cara Williams. I'm the regional development manager at Together in sort of like cover a little bit of the north and the northwest. I've been at Together for 10 years, pardon all my sins. I've worked across the sort of customer side, and then I've worked my way sort of across the broker side as well, from being a business partner on the telephony team, and then more recently, about 3 years ago, became one of the business development managers at Together as well. And I look after a lot of the packages across the north, including Crystal.
Yeah, look here and look at us. Listen, we talk about there's some pretenders out there who are not really lending, so pretenders rather than lenders. But one thing we know about Together is the appetite to lend and the appetite to help in complex circumstances is always evident. But just want to talk about flexibility and maybe just try and bring out early doors, maybe just some of the standout criteria and just some of the
Yeah.
the standout bits of magic dust. I referred to it before that exists with Together.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're sort of having conversations with your likes of Crystal, I think we always pride ourselves in what, one of our main USPs is flexibility alongside the speed and the service as well. And I think we have a flexible criteria range across all our products, from the regulated side to the unregulated side as well. In respect to the magic dust, we're not a computer says no company. We allow real life customer solutions, and we allow real life. We understand that customers have blips. We all have blips in our own lives, so we want to help customers and provide those solutions to customers as well. And we sort of pride ourselves as like our non-standard lending. So that may be across sort of your sort of non-standard construction securities. So that may be anything from like a concrete construction, wimpy no fine construction, to a flat on the 15th floor in a tower block in London. Coming across sort of your non-standard credit. So we don't actually credit score clients. We look at the client's last 12 months credit, or 12 to 24 months credit, depending on what sort of plan we're looking on. So that gives applicants an opportunity where they have had a default over 12 months ago because they've had a parking ticket. How many parking tickets do people get and they just don't want to pay? And they either get a default or a CCJ on the credit profile. That just gives customers opportunities again to provide a solution where we can lend that mortgage where the bank won't. Also kind of like your non-standard income as well. So we look at a wide spectrum of income sources, whether that's projected income, that's startup businesses on your unregulated applications. We look at clients solely on benefits, zero-hour contract workers. We've probably seen, particularly since COVID, I mean, it seems a long time ago, that doesn't it now, that, people are working different hours. You might get night shift workers, you might get contract workers. You get but nurse bank workers as well. So people are it's like the modern day living, and we're there to cater for those applicants that have a quirkier source of income as well. And then last but not least, we've got your non-standard, what we call like non-standard sort of purchases. And what we mean by that is like the different entities that we lend to. So as well as just your standard individual and your limited company, we look at foreign nationals, we look at expats, we look at SIPs, SASs, right to buy, applications, shared ownership. So we're here to provide solutions across a wide spectrum of applicants and clients. And one unique thing about Together is you may have an application that has all four of those combined, and not many lenders will look at an expat, an expat application that may have had a default in 2020 and that's looking to purchase their first buy to let on the 15th floor of a tower block in the middle of Manchester city centre.
And you know what? I think that that common sense approach and that the computer doesn't say no is look, it is it's part of the DNA of the business, and we look, feel, and touch that every day, which we're thrilled about. So that footprint and that product choice is so wide and so varied, which is which is great. How do deals maybe cascade from maybe product to product? Is that something you see a lot of within the range?
Yeah, absolutely. So because we've got such a wide spectrum of products, if we can't do it on one product, then we can transfer it to another. So just to give an example, as we do see a lot of holiday lets where we get the application. So holiday let falls into our buy to let plan. But then we get an application evaluation in, sorry, and it comes and it's got commercial usage. Well, we don't have to decline that because we've then got a commercial term plan. We can then transfer that product into a commercial term plan. And that's vice versa from your unregulated and your regulated side as well. You may get, halfway through an application for an unregulated buy to let. The applicant's never made anybody aware that they've previously lived in it and they own no other buy to let securities. Well, because we've got that regulated side as well, there's still a solution there for the client. We're not then declining that application and saying you're having to go elsewhere. We're going, actually, we can't do it this route, but we've got another route for you to be able to provide that solution.
Within the product range, we've obviously got, I suppose, the different verticals, and I
Yeah.
know there's been some brilliant messages throughout this year about record numbers being delivered in bridging, for yes, say for instance. So maybe let's have a drill down on each of the verticals. So bridging, and it's again crucial part of the business strategy and the DNA of the business. So
Yeah.
again, why is bridging so successful within Together, do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of bridging lenders will say their speed and service. But I can absolutely sit here today and say one of our biggest USPs with our bridging is our speed and service. We lend across commercial properties, we lend across residential properties, we'll do auction purchases, we'll look at deadlines. Someone may have a HMRC deadline to repay a tax bill. And because we've got underwriters as well that specialize in bridging and specialize in the bridging service, we've got the experts in the team to be able to support your clients, to be able to feel that speed we have with our bridging finance. And it comes back to what we were saying before. We're not a computer says no company, and we don't hide our underwriters. You can absolutely, we pride ourselves with the relationship, and you can absolutely speak to our underwriting team. So if you have got something you have got a bridge that's particularly for speed and with a tight deadline, absolutely make our underwriters aware. Or if you do, you want to answer a question, you can speak to our underwriting team. And I think that really adds the value and the relationship, particularly when you need a quick turnaround time on a bridge, as well.
You know what? I think just as that exit is really important to you as the lender to understand how the funds are going to be redeemed in 12
Yeah,
months' time, 6 months,
absolutely.
12 months' time. The most important thing for us when we're trying to deliver the certainty at the front end, Cara, is the speed of the likelihood of the lender being able to deliver to the time frame. So us
Yeah.
understanding how quickly the broker and the client needs to actually get the funds really is a determining factor. So although pricing is important and it plays a part, it's usually not the deciding factor, is it? Is
Absolutely.
who can actually deliver within 10 days, 14 days,
Yeah.
And yeah, we've got some different lenders on our panel who might be, you know, very aggressive on price, but we know it'll take them 3 months to complete a bridge, which kind of defeats the object at times, doesn't it? And what about
Absolutely.
on the commercial and the semi-commercial side then? Because again, I know um, we've seen landlords diversify and look
Mhm.
to maybe switch asset classes because they're
Yeah.
natural entrepreneurs. How have you found the commercial and semi-commercial marketplace? And then maybe I know you've got a couple of, you know, like the homeowner business loan and some
Yes.
real unique products that, yeah, that you actually
Yeah.
make available, which helps business owners out. So how have you found the market on the commercial and semi-commercial side, and then maybe, yeah, just give us a bit of a feel for for some of the reasons why the volumes have been so strong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, we continue on month to get record volumes again on the semi-commercial and the commercial set of products. We've not shied away from any sector, so we're still in your retail, your hospitality, and your leisure sector, and we haven't moved in our minimum loan amount either. So our minimum loan amount is still at 30,000. We do anything from sort of 30,000 up to kind of like your 10 million mark as well. So you can probably imagine what comes across our desk on a day-to-day basis. We say every day is a school day. We've kind of like what types of inquiries that we do come across. But with the semi-commercial and commercial market, as you said, Jason, you know, landlords are diversifying into different areas. What we've seen an increase on is landlords renting properties out to social housing and vulnerable tenants. So hotels with asylum seekers in, properties with the homeless, vulnerable adults, vulnerable children. We've seen an increase in kind of care homes as well. And we will look at care homes for adults and children as well. So we don't shy away from either of those. The semi-commercial market as well still remains strong. You know, a landlord can get a rent from renting out the commercial and the rent from renting out to a tenant, whether that may be the client that's renting the commercial as well, and then they've got the two sets of floor space on that side as well. Um, it does continue to be a real strong contender, particularly as sort of, and what we are seeing more of is office spaces as well. I know there's a lot more hybrid working that goes on, and particularly since COVID. But I think more and more people are starting to go back to the offices now. I think businesses are having a little bit of a different stance rather than a full work from home. You know, you work in the office 3 days a week, work from home 2 days a week. So we are seeing a lot more offices come across the desk as well, particularly in city centres. Um, and that remains strong on that side. And then you did mention as well the unique product, the homeowner business loan. I'm a really massive fan of this product. I think this is a really unique product together, and it just gives particularly the unregulated introducers, your unregulated brokers as well, an opportunity to not throw away a client. And what that product is, it's a second charge on a client's main residence where more than 50% of that loan is being used for business purposes. Or it can be in a limited company name as well. So we can do a third party legal charge in a limited company name. What we see a lot of those is where we use an additional security. So where they're purchasing a commercial security and they want to do 100% funding to raise the deposit, or vice versa, they're looking to purchase a buy to let to add to their portfolio. And we've seen a lot where they're looking at to pump money into the business. I had one the other week where it was a client had purchased a second restaurant. They wanted to kit it out with fixtures and fittings, so they used their main residence on a second charge basis to be able to fit out that restaurant as well. So again, it just shows you the flexibility and the unique product set that we have.
And what about the development market? So we were talking about obviously landlords and how they may be diversifying, um, their assets, mitigating some of the risks, and just looking at yields. You know, particularly like you mentioned that semi commercial. So looking at getting improved yields where they've got a bit of resi and a bit of commercial in the same building. The development market's been a tougher market this year, hasn't it? Have you found the development volumes play out?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it has been a tougher market this year. And in respect of kind of the development side is we are starting to see more of a heavy refurb, more of like adding your extensions on, more kind of rather than your sort of light refurb. So which with ourselves falls into kind of our development finance. And we're seeing what we sort of step into is more kind of your residential development. We do commercial development, but we do shy away from things like hotels, etc. In that side. So whilst we have seen an increase in kind of like your heavy refurb that falls into development, it's probably not a product that's as flying as much as your commercial, your semi-commercial product is, and your sort of standard bridging and your light refurb, on that side.
Second, how's the second market been? Because we've obviously still got a load of um, customers who they're still luckily having some nice fixed rates from days gone by.
Yeah,
It's becoming increasingly difficult to retain those rates, but we've still got some on those lower rates. So
yeah.
second charge really does have a part to play now in the today's market, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I feel as though when we go into the new year, sort of after Christmas, we'll probably see more and more seconds come across the desk, as well. And no, you're absolutely right. A lot of people, particularly when they're looking to raise for home improvements or they're looking for that debt consolidation, instead of refinancing their first charge because they're still on that fixed rate. I've got a friend that's still on a fixed rate of like 1.04 and she's got like another 2 years left on it. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, keep stay on there, stay on that. Um, but no, you're absolutely right. We are seeing an increase in the seconds market because people are wanting to stay on those fixed rates. That's not just across your regulated seconds as well. That's across the buy-to-let second rate. That's across the buy-to-let seconds as well. People are looking at different ways of raising finance and utilize while staying on those fixed rates on the first charges. What we have seen a lot of an increase as well as product transfers on the seconds, because we do offer product transfers as well on our regulated second charges, and so people are taking advantage of that offering now. We never used to offer product transfers, so people are now taking advantage of the product transfers that we've got to offer as well.
What kind of action do you think brokers should be taking to disturb some of their clients? Because look, we've both heard it before, where brokers will say, well, we don't get any bridging, or you know what, the buy to let we're quiet at the moment because our landlords are sat on their hands.
Mm.
I think what you and I both know is that um, any case that has been declined, there's a bridging opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because of maybe the property type, will there be a conversation to be had there? Anybody who needs money quickly,
Mm.
there's a bridging opportunity, and it's not as expensive. And breaking this perception of it being expensive. Look, it's not the cheapest way to actually gain money, but it's still incredibly cheap compared to where it's been in previous years. And then those landlords who are maybe just sat on their hands and maybe not diversifying into other areas. I just wonder, what kind of hints and tips you'd give brokers to actually try and disturb this maybe client bank that they've actually got to take some action.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things is the relationship. So if you have got a client that's on a bridge, you mentioned it before, Jason, the key is the exit. So can you do the exit as well? Or if you've got a client bank on, a big client bank on bridges, can you contact them? Can you disturb them and go, what exit have you got in place? When are you doing your exit in that sort of side? So actually, you can get 2 points there. You can get your bridge and you can get your exit. You're absolutely right as well in respect. I think some clients do shy away from bridging, but I think it's coming more of the new norm now, particularly in the respect of why people are a bit wary on rates. The Bank of England base rates slightly moved down, but swap rates can continue to change. Particular swap rates continue to change. So why people are slightly wary on, oh, do I fix in for 2 years? Do I fix in for 5 years? Why not take a bridge out? It's a quick solution, and then you can have a look in 3 to 6 months' time in that respect of at the original exit that you were looking at. But I think this also comes in, it's a key in what I mentioned before, the relationship. And this is where you guys, Crystal, can come in. So if you know, if you've got an introducer that is unsure where to place a case, if a case has been declined by another lender, that's where the real value it adds with a packager. And Crystal, you are really good at, you know, at finding that solution for the client. You know, we work really well together. We've got that relationship. You know exactly what we can do. Your packaging is absolutely great. So for an introducer to pass that client over to, you know, pass that client over to yourself for you to help them place that, again, that's a win-win for you both. That's not a client saying to a client, it's no, it's actually going, right, how can I add value to this client? Well, you know what? I'll speak to Crystal and Crystal can support me along the way.
I think that certainty of decision,
Yeah,
I've spoken about it before. We usually get brokers who've been down two channels, they've been two cul-de-sacs, and so they're quite stressed and they've got an anxious client.
absolutely.
And what we can't afford to do is make that worse. So we've got to be
Yeah,
really sure when we're delivering the placement and our initial terms and recommendations to brokers, we've got to be sure that it's going to go through. And look, the one thing, you know, there's many things to to laud with the relationship we've got with together. But the one thing that we're both really sure about is if we say we can do something at the beginning,
yeah.
we'll get it through to completion, and we share that desire to get an outstanding outcome for the for the client, which is absolutely crucial. And then the actual the actual landlords and the opportunities that exist with landlords. I mean, look, trawling through their databases to
Yeah.
identify the self-employed, trawling through the databases to um, uh, try and persuade and influence maybe a landlord who's been in that residential only space,
Mm.
persuading them to maybe look at some of that semi-commercial. I'm sure you've got
Yeah,
numerous examples to to talk about, and I just wonder,
absolutely.
case study wise, in terms of a picture paints 1,000 words, I always say. So I just wonder about maybe a couple of recent case studies that you could bring to bring to life and share with the people who are listening, which will really just again showcase that magic dust that exists with together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start with one of my favourites because I sat there and said to myself, I'm in the wrong job here. So well, one of my favourites is we've got a buy-to-let landlord that again, as we said, is diversifying into the commercial area. So he owned a hotel. So he owned a hotel and he was capital raise. He wanted his capital raise on the hotel to purchase another hotel. So purchase price was 350,000. We did 65% loan to value of the 180 day, And in that hotel, he was going to house asylum seekers. It was on a Serco lease. So not a lot of lenders will look at Serco leases, but it was on a Serco lease with asylum seekers. And the lease was 190,000 per month. He actually said within the last 3 months, he would earn more than he would in the last 18 months on his buy-to-let portfolio and the hotel that he already owned. So you can see there diversifying into kind of like the social housing area for a commercial landlord, how that can bring up their yield, taking it slightly away from kind of like the buy-to-let portfolio. Rather than investing in another buy-to-let, he's invested in another commercial property, and that yield has massively increased for him.
Great example that one, and I think we've got similar examples with within that social housing space, and it's a real if we've got brokers out there at the moment, we've got to try and find 300,000 properties. I think is what Labour have actually committed to, and it's probably going to be a bit of an impossible dream. But social housing's got a real part to play in the future together, hasn't it, over the next couple of years.
Yeah, absolutely. We're seeing a massive increase in the social housing areas, whether that's a buy-to-let security housing, your homeless, your vulnerable tenants, whether that's a hotel. But I think it has. I think as buy-to-let landlords in particular start diversifying into different areas, we are going to see an increase in that social housing, and we do have a specialised social housing team as well to support that, so we can do we can look at the grading on a care home beforehand to see if we're comfortable to lend to give yourselves at Crystal and your client slash introducer that extra comfort that we're able to support that security.
So we mentioned the certainty at the front end and the importance of speed.
Mhm.
How do we best guarantee that speed? So the importance of getting things right first time, the importance of understanding a checklist and not delivering that checklist in piecemeal, so it's delivered comprehensively. So you get on your desk what you want to be able to deliver an immediate offer and move it into that report and title quickly.
Yeah.
The part that look, I can always do a good job talking up how brilliant Crystal are, but it's nice when when somebody else can actually just maybe talk about the importance of getting things right first time. And I know you place huge emphasis on the quality of the packs when you
Yeah.
receive them. So just interested in your view and just how important that is, not just in terms of the outcome that the broker and the client are going to get, but just how important it is for you as a business.
Absolutely, and you're absolutely right. We pride ourselves in our pack quality, and that's where you guys at Crystal really support us with that as well. We want to be able to give you guys the best turnaround times, so getting all the information correct up front is key. We want you to be able to submit the application, and we want you to be able to feel that 24-hour turnaround time, whether that to be to solicitors, whether that be get the offer out, because a great news story to your introducer and to your client. Oh, look, we've submitted the cases together. It's offered in 24 hours. Now, wow, that client's going to think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But that comes down to you guys at Crystal as well, working with us, and it's all about the relationships. You guys know exactly how we work. You're not afraid to pick up the phone and ask us questions. You've got an on-site roving underwriter, which is a great support and works with you on a weekly basis. And you guys are taking the time as well to get to know us and to know our criteria inside and out. And I think it really adds value when you're using a packager like yourselves at Crystal, because you know the lender, you know exactly what they want, so you can get the best turnaround times for the introducer and the client, rather than it getting packaged, it getting submitted to us. We're then going, actually, we need X, Y, and Z. We're coming back to you. You're then waiting another 72 hours because you've uploaded it 24 hours later. You're waiting another 48 hours for us to be able to re-review that again. So actually, it could turn out to be 5 working days to offer, where actually we could do that in 24 hours with working with the right partner like Crystal. You can get that speed and efficiency.
I think that product range you've got, we said it's so extensive. It's a brilliant footprint that you've got, which covers so many different financial areas. And look, that is a brilliant USP for you as a lender. Having been both sides of the desk, I think the one thing again Crystal can do to enhance that is we don't just cascade from together products to together products. We've used 52 different lenders this year, but of the 52 different lenders, there's probably a dozen or so that are our favourites, and you guys stand out when it comes to that, as I say, that certainty and fair pricing. I think getting things right first time, as you touch on there, is we pride ourselves on the quality of the packs, and I know the conversations we have each month where we're looking at the
Yes.
how we're doing is an important part of the conversation. What about the legal process? So again, we've probably got the biggest pipeline we've ever had at the moment, Cara, with you
Mhm.
and a number of other lenders. And great that we can look into next year and be excited about how swell this pipeline is. But it's only great if it doesn't fail. And the
Yeah.
legal process at the moment, and again, um, not single-handedly pointing out the lawyers, but there can be a real mismatch
Yeah.
of lawyer involved in the process. So so dual representation and
Mhm.
single representation is a topic that's always up for debate. But just talk
Mhm.
us through the legal process, because again, I do think you've got some real unique wins as with what you actually offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So we probably put it out there to everybody, and we probably think, oh God, it's probably our internal jargon. So I'll explain kind of each process. So we have an external solicitor instruction where we use our in-house solicitor Priority Law, and we use the client solicitor. So that's anything from kind of like a purchase, transfer of equity, limited company application, or anything that sort of affects the title. Yes, we do. We do look at dual representation as well, Jason. You're absolutely correct. That's for purely residential purchases under 500,000, and that's where the client will only have to use their own solicitor. So yes, that saves time and saves costs, but you've got to make sure, particularly if you're looking at a bridge, you've got to make sure that solicitor knows exactly what they're doing. Because if they're going to use our solicitor as well, our solicitor knows together. They only use, they only help, they only support together, so they'll be able to support that solicitor. And what you find sometimes is that it's the solicitor just needs to pick up the phone to Priority Law to be able to discuss that and go, right, I know exactly what is required on that side. Then we have what we call an internal completion process. Now, this is how we emphasize speed as well. And what that is that's anything under 500,000, anything that's just like a capital raise or standard remortgage, anything that's not a purchase and in an individual name in England and Wales. Scotland's slightly different just because of the slightly different law that they have. Give you an example of our internal legal process. I had this is one of you, this is one at Crystal as well. So it was a buy-to-let second charge, and it was a bridge. It got submitted at 8 o'clock in the morning and it completed by 4:30 the same day. So you can see by working together and getting the right documents, how our internal legal process can give you that speed and service as well. But I think sometimes with the legal process is that solicitors just need to speak together on that side, and then they can iron out any sort of issues or anything that they need to look at together to get that speed, to not hold up that pipeline for yourself and the client.
Yeah, look, and you're so right, and I think that matchmaking, we can do a better job as we move forward, and just to ensure. And look, it can be difficult trying to influence an applicant, a borrower, to
Oh,
use the lawyer
yeah.
of, of one that we would choose, but the difference it makes in that overall process. And look, our language, all our focus is around customer outcome and completion.
Mm.
So there's no point having a leaking bucket where you've got loads of inquiries and applications if it isn't converting. So we're so focused on that legal process and that matchmaking being the best it can be, and that in-house facility you offer under 500k, it is incredible. It makes
Yeah.
a massive difference to the delivery, which is ace. And I had a few questions that had come in
Yeah.
advance from different brokers. I'm not sure. It was probably an opportunity to just expand on what you said a little bit earlier, really, because
Mhm.
again, I think you kind of touched on the first question that came in was from Scott Chartwell's, and it was how does Together handle cases with complex income structures like self-employed clients or those with multiple income streams? So this comes back to this: computer doesn't automatically
Yeah.
say no. Common sense approach, logical approach. We're blessed to have Emma come into the office and take views for us. So it comes back to this sensible and logical approach that you'll always apply, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And we manually underwrite all our cases. So we underwrite each case on a case-to-case basis. And if as you say, Emma comes into your office on a weekly, fortnightly basis. So if you have got a complex income structure and you are unsure of, you can refer that into our roving underwriter team or our underwriter team to have a look at that for you. So as we mentioned, we're not a computer says no company. You can pick up the phone to us, you can email us, because we deal with such complex clients and different forms of income structures, and that is included in your self-employed clients as well, because we don't look at accounts, we look at accountants references and tax calculations and overviews. It might not be the norm of what an introducer is looking at, so we're here to support that and be able to streamline that to make the process as smooth as possible for you.
We're blessed as well, aren't we, Cara? Because again, I know one thing we don't take for granted is just some of the exclusives that we actually have got. And look, we're both engaging with in that network and club space, but we have some as a business. We don't just get some of the operational support. We've got some lovely pricing edges or product availability edges that don't exist. You may be more direct to the brokers, which is which we, as I say, we never
Yeah.
take for granted. And I think I mean, again, next question was really around um, where these niche client needs. And again, I think one of the beauties of Together is, again, it's such a far-reaching
Yeah.
product footprint that yeah, anybody who is niche, there's arguably not a better place for them to actually have a home or have a solution than with Together. So then it just becomes, I know there's a lot of lenders out there who will try and compete. It then just becomes about that pricing to risk. And I know,
Yeah.
LTV is a real focus for yeah, for Together and the business. But really, anybody who is niche, if they don't fit that traditional mainstream, and there's a
Yeah.
way of them actually being funded in the UK, Together will find a way to fund, won't they?
Absolutely, and I think we mentioned earlier, if it comes in and it can't go on the buy-to-let plan, we can pop it over to the commercial term plan and vice versa. If we get a valuation and we see it's 100% residential, we can put it onto the buy-to-let plan. So yeah, because of the product range we've got, ranging from residential first and seconds, consumer buy-to-let, regulated bridging, to your unregulated bridging, your commercial term, your buy-to-lets, and your development finance for your quirky, your niche kind of clients, there's a home for everybody.
Yeah, I can see that. And I just wonder if, as we've gone through probably the last 30 minutes or so, has there been, is there anything we've missed out? Is there anything we've got within that product suite, or anything we've got that is unique? Because look, I mean, there's so much we can throw out there. And look, you've done a great job outlining about the view that we're taking with the complex incomes, the non-standard properties, just the different product verticals and how we can interact with each other is great. Is there anything we've not covered that we maybe should have covered, or anything else that we want to just really emphasize about just how magic Together are when they're working with Crystal?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're thinking of Together, I think what I say is remember three main things. It's flexibility, speed and service, and certainty of funding. One thing we're not going to do
Four
is,
things. That's four
oh,
things.
it's four things. I'm classing speed. It's a Friday. Four things.
Flexibility is service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what I think is in that sort of side, we're not going to tell you, yes, we can, we're not going to get halfway down the process and go, no, we can't do it. We'd rather give you an honest no up front than actually get halfway down the process and either go, we're going to reduce it to 50% loan to value, or actually, no, we're going to decline, we're going to decline that. So I think I think one of the things is our honesty as well. And actually, instead of us going, criteria may say 70% loan to value, but actually due to the security type, and because we're looking at all sorts of different construction types, different types of properties, farmhouses, equestrian centres, land, etc., we may not be at your 70, we may be at your 60, your 50% loan to value. And that's where the absolute value of Crystal comes in for you, because they know our criteria, they know what we can look at, and they know what we can flex on. And if they don't know, because it's such a good relationship, they can give us a call. We know we can run through that with them before then it hits the application stage, before it hits the underwriter. So we're not wasting anybody's time up front.
A time saving benefit,
Yeah.
and look, that research and that ability to be able to help the broker with the placement at the front end is something we pride ourselves on, and that certainty, and then the speed of making sure that there's a checklist which the goalposts don't get moved on. So there's 10 things we need. You give us the 10 things, we're going to deliver the offer, and you're going to get the completion shortly after. And look, we don't take for granted the support we get from you guys, and I think together we're stronger,
Yes.
and we've got an exciting year to look forward to next
Absolutely.
year, I'm sure. And I just wonder maybe the view then, to the future landscape. So, the buy-to-let market and the short-term finance market, bridging market, and the commercial market. They're really the three areas that are our sweet spots. And
Yeah.
I know it overlaps nicely into your range as well. But I just wonder about what's the Together view for maybe the next couple of years or so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we anticipate more of an increase again in kind of your commercial and your semi-commercial securities. We are looking at a semi-commercial product, which will fall between in your buy-to-let and your commercial product. So in order to help, that those rate sensitive clients. I think we'll always work together and remain strong in your bridging. I still think we'll see an increase in bridging as a kind of, like you say, Labour's coming, there's a little bit of uncertainty there. Bank of England base rates, swap rates, etc. And I think we'll be looking at kind of more your longer term bridging as well. But it's also to remember on that your key, your exit is your key. As long as you've got that exit in place, then that's when a bridge works as well. And I think sort of for future, we touched on it earlier, particularly in your buy to let space. Um, we're probably going to see more landlords diversify into different areas, whether that's your HMO and your student accommodation. We're seeing a lot more holiday lets, particularly in your city centres and Scotland as well, because we lend in all postcode areas of England, Scotland, and Wales, and that social housing aspect. So I don't think things are going to slow down. I think they're just going to be diversifying into different areas, while commercial landlords sort of look at sort of how best they can get their yields and utilize their properties.
We're seeing a professionalisation of landlord that we've not seen before as well,
Absolutely.
which is great. So to seeing not just this diversification, seeing landlords who've maybe got a bit of a mix of properties in individual names as well as in
Yeah.
SPVs, they're getting their affairs in order, aren't they? So they're
Yeah.
looking, even though there might be some CGT um, um, penalties or costs involved. They're just getting
Yeah.
their affairs in order. So it either improves their current and short-term tax affairs, or it just leaves them in a better position when it comes to
Yeah.
IHT on unfortunate death. So they're just getting themselves organised is what we're seeing. So we're seeing some
Yeah.
nice portfolios.
Yeah, absolutely, and you're absolutely correct. They're looking at different ways, aren't they? Getting themselves ready. Is it limited company? Do I transfer it into a limited company? Do I keep an individual name? I mean, over the last couple of weeks, I've seen a lot more SIP applications as well.
Yeah.
So like you say, landlords are looking at and getting themselves ready, looking at kind of right, what do I put that in? What do I put that in? To get the best out for it themselves.
Yeah, and when somebody is placing a SIP, so the together view with a SIP, so just totally receptive and totally comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. So it will be no more than 50% of the SIP value, but that's the SIP rules as well. What we do is we get it all looked at and checked out up front before any sort of valuation or anything's paid. But yes, we can lend to SIPs and SASs as well.
Great, great. Well, I think we've covered loads there in terms of all the stuff around complex income, all the different product verticals that together offer so brilliantly. And look, the non-standard constructions that you've taken in the past, where you've just taken a really brilliant view on them. I know have got us out of holes at certain times. And look, everything from that 25, 30 grand minimum where you've been to the 10 million plus. I don't think there's a volume space that we've probably not tried and tested, and the appetite remains all the way through, as long as the LTV is there. So as long as the people, we need to see some skin in the game and some equity in there. But
Yeah.
generally, that certainty is we're certainly the most confident. We're together than any other lender when it comes to you've said yes at the beginning, it going all the way through. Thing, you know what, Cara? I think unless we've missed anything, I think that is a brilliant overview of how Together and Crystal can work together. I'm really grateful for your time, grateful for your ongoing support, and I know we can look forward to not just the next 12 months, but I think the next 3 years are going to be really
Absolutely.
strong in the specialist space. So let's keep collaborating, let's keep helping brokers and their clients with brilliant solutions. And thank you so much for your time today.
No, thank you very much for having me. And absolutely, let's continue the great working relationship and looking forward to the many years to come.